Welcome. This is A Course in Miracles, Palm Beach Study Group. Today we're on Chapter 14, Section 9, The Reflection of Holiness. It's on page 291 in the book in the text. The atonement does not make holy. You are created holy. It merely brings unholiness to holiness, or what you made to what you are, bringing illusion to truth, or the ego to God, is the Holy Spirit's only function. Keep not your making from your Father, for hiding it has cost you knowledge of Him and of yourself. The knowledge is safe, but where is your safety apart from it? The making of time to take the place of timelessness lay in the decision to be not as you are. Thus truth was made past, and the present was dedicated to illusion. And the past too was changed and interposed between what always was and now. The past that you remember never was, and represents only the denial of what always was. So the atonement itself doesn't make anything holy. That's H-O-L-Y. We were created holy, and we are holy. We have always been holy, and we always will be holy. But the atonement, that process of forgiveness, brings unholiness to holiness. It brings what we made to what we are, brings illusion to truth, brings ego to God. They're all the same thing. And it's Holy Spirit's function to facilitate that process. So keep not your making, that's your ego self, from your Father. For hiding it has cost you knowledge of Him and of yourself. The knowledge, that's a code word for spirit, is safe. But where is your safety apart from it? Well, nowhere. We're only safe in spirit. The making of time, that's what happened when we created the ego. We made time because spirit is eternal. There is no time in spirit. The making of time to take the place of timelessness lay in the decision to not be as you are. That was our decision to try to separate ourselves from God, which never really happened, but we thought it did. And so we made ourselves as spiritual beings into ego beings of bodies. And we did that. That was our creation, not God's creation. And in doing that, truth was made past, because there was no past before that, because it was timeless. And the present, which is spirit, was dedicated to illusion, to the ego. And the past too was changed and interposed between what always was, spirit, and now, ego. The past that you remember never was, because the whole ego world is just an illusion and represents only the denial of what always was, only the denial of spirit. The ego world represents only the denial of spirit. Any comments, questions? Paragraph 2.
Who created time? Was it Adam or Eve?
No, it was us.
Which one of us?
All of us.
Oh,
All of us collectively.
was it the early us or was it
God.
the recent us?
Excuse me?
Was it the early us or was it the recent us?
There's only one of us.
Ah, okay. Well, and God also created time too?
No.
Well, there's only one of us.
God created the sun. That's all of us, otherwise known as the Christ. And we, as there's only one of us, created the ego.
Well, aren't we one with God?
We are one with God, but when we thought we could separate ourselves from God, we created the ego, and that was the fall of man. We fell into a dream. We fell into the illusion of ego.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
John, why is atonement capitalized?
I'm sorry?
Why is atonement capitalized?
Well, it's because this atonement is the atonement of forgiveness, of spirit, of reuniting ourselves with the Father, of reuniting our consciousness with our spiritual selves. Like it says, bring the illusion to truth, bring the ego to God, bring your ego selves to God, to your spiritual understanding, and forgive all of the past. And in doing that, the atonement is like the same as the enlightenment.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So paragraph 2. Bringing the ego to God is but to bring error to truth, where it stands corrected because it is the opposite of what it meets. It is undone because the contradiction can no longer stand. How long can contradiction stand when its impossible nature is clearly revealed? What disappears in light is not attacked. It merely vanishes because it is not true. Different realities are meaningless, for reality must be one. It cannot change with time or mood or chance. Its changelessness is what makes it real. This cannot be undone. Undoing is for unreality. And this really will do, and this reality will do for you. And this reality will do for you. So bringing the ego to God is bringing error to truth. And this happens in our mind. And when we've corrected that in our mind and we understand that we're spiritual beings, then it undoes the contradiction of ego, and ego can no longer stand because its nature of unreality will be revealed. And it will disappear just like The darkness disappears when you flip on the light. The darkness is only the absence of light. The darkness has no reality unto itself. It's just the absence of light. When you flip on the light, there is no darkness. Sentence 5, it merely vanishes because it is not true. And they're talking about the ego. So, are there any comments, questions?
I don't understand sentence 4. What disappears in the light. So talking about the ego, but is not attacked. What does that mean? Is not attacked.
Spirit does not attack ego. Spirit never attacks. Ego attacks, but spirit does not. So what disappears, the ego, what disappears in the light of spirit, it's not attacked, it merely vanishes, as paragraph 5 continues. It's not that the ego is slain by the spirit and is vanquished by the spirit. No, the spirit doesn't attack the ego at all. Spirit just turns on the light, and then the ego just vanishes because it's not true.
Now, is the light referring to God?
Say that again.
Is the light, when it says what disappears in light, is light referring to God?
The light is truth, the truth of spirit, the truth that we are spiritual beings. We're talking in metaphor here. The light stands for spiritual truth. The light stands for recognizing and understanding that we're spiritual beings. The light stands for peace and love and forgiveness. All of the spiritual concepts are considered as part of the light of spirit. So it's metaphor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Paragraph 3. Merely by being what it is, does truth release you from everything that is not. The atonement is so gentle, you need but whisper to it, and all its power will rush to your assistance and support. You are not frail with God beside you. Yet without him, you are nothing. The atonement offers you God. The gift that you refused is held by him in you. The Holy Spirit holds it there for you. God has not left his altar, though his worshippers placed other gods upon it. The temple is still holy, for the presence that dwells within it is holiness. So again, it's speaking in metaphor. Merely by being what it is, does truth, that refers to truth, so that's a key word for spirit. Merely by being itself, spirit releases you from everything that is not it, which is all of the ego. The atonement, forgiveness, is so gentle, you need but whisper it. In other words, you don't have to shout it. It doesn't. It doesn't need to be a struggle or a fight or anything like that. You just have to allow it. You just have to softly think it. I am a spiritual being. And all of Spirit's power will rush to your assistance and support just with that little thought. You cannot be frail with God beside you, but without him, you're nothing. You're just, ego is nothing. So the atonement offers you God, the enlightenment, the forgiveness of the ego life offers you the Spirit. And it's a gift that's been refused to by us as long as we continue to dwell in the ego thinking. But the Holy Spirit just holds it there for us. Again, it's always there, just waiting for us to accept it. It won't force itself upon us, but it's always there waiting for us. God has not left his altar. Even if you've placed false gods upon the altar, he doesn't care. His presence is always there and is always within us. Any questions, comments? Paragraph 4. In this temple, holiness waits quietly for the return of them that love it. The presence knows they will return to purify and to grace. The graciousness of God will take them gently in and cover all their sense of pain and loss with the immortal assurance of their Father's love. Their fear of death will be replaced with joy of life. For God is life, and they abide in life. Life is as holy as the holiness by which it was created. The presence of holiness lives in everything that lives, for holiness created life and leaves not what it created holy as itself. So again, that idea that the Spirit is very quiet and gentle and loving and assuring and without fear, and all we have to do is embrace it. We just have to say yes to the Spirit within us. Any comments, questions?
Yes. The presence of holiness lives in everything that lives, everything on this earth that lives.
Yes.
And our illustrious politicians, especially the subprime court, which wants to get rid of wetlands, has no understanding of this. The presence of holiness lives in everything that lives.
Yes, and it is unfortunate that there are many people on this planet that do not understand this. But the important thing is that we come to understand this and embrace this idea and share this idea with those around us. So
How do we share it with them without creating a circumstance where these people feel that you're criticizing them? I want to be able to deal with that. I want to be able to do it, but
well, just if you can email those people, just email them this sentence: when nothing else. The
Very good.
presence of holiness lives in everything that lives. For holiness created life and leaves not what it created holy as itself. Just email that sentence. Just put that thought in their mind, or send it to them silently in your meditation. I mean, you don't have to beat them over the head. You just have to give them one sentence, put an idea in their head.
Thanks very much, Jim.
You're welcome. Paragraph 5. In this world, you can become a spotless mirror in which the holiness of your Creator shines forth from you to all around you. You can reflect heaven here. Yet no reflections of the images of other gods must dim the mirror that God would hold, that would hold God's reflection in it. Earth can reflect heaven or hell, God or the ego. You need but leave the mirror clean and clear of all the images of hidden darkness you have drawn upon it. God will shine upon it of himself. Only the clear reflection of himself can be perceived upon it. So this is kind of like an answer to Ed's question. And again, it's speaking in metaphor, using the mirror as the image. But simply, all that it's saying is, do your best to present your spiritual self to the world and thus be a mirror for God. And have no images of other gods, which would be ego God, to dim the mirror. And what would those be? Well, that would be the face of hate, the face of jealousy, the face of selfishness, the face of unconcern about your fellow human beings, and any of the negatives of ego, that is what would dim the mirror. That would be images of other gods, anger, jealousy, all of that. So try to be the best and clearest reflection of spirit that you can be. Now, obviously, we're all in this process, and none of us have reached perfection. If we were, we would not still be in ego bodies. So this is a continuum. We do the best we can. Are we 100%? No, that's our goal. But we can be 50%, we can be 60%, we can be 70%. Over time, we can increase our percentage day by day as we learn and reflect and meditate and do our best to right any errors that we have made and to learn. So it's a progression. Any comments, questions? Erica?
No, I think David had his hand up in the last paragraph. I don't know, David, did you want to ask a question?
I'm sorry. Your sound this evening, Erica, is not clear. It's kind of echoey, and I'm having difficulty understanding. Did you have a question for yourself?
No, I didn't. Is that any better?
Yes, that is a little better.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, the number 6. Reflections are seen in light. In darkness, they are obscure, and their meaning seems to lie only in shifting interpretations rather than in themselves. The reflection of God needs no interpretation. It is clear, clean but the mirror, and the message that shines forth from what the mirror holds out for everyone to see, no one can fail to understand. It is the message that the Holy Spirit is holding to the mirror that is in him. He recognizes it because he has been taught his need for it, but knows not where to look to find it. Let him then see it in you and share it with you. Well, that's just saying the same thing again, just be the best reflection of spirit that you can be at the present time. Just do the best that you can and keep on going. Number 7. Could you but realize for a single instant the power of healing that the reflection of God shining in you can bring to all the world, you could not wait to make the mirror of your mind clean to receive the image of the holiness that heals the world. The image of holiness that shines in your mind is not obscure and will not change. Its meaning to those who look upon it is not obscure, for everyone perceives it as the same. All bring their different problems to its healing light, and all their problems find but healing there. So again, no matter what your ego issues are, it doesn't matter. Sit in the silence, commune with the spirit within yourself, bring all of your ego troubles and woes to the Spirit, to the Holy Spirit, to the God within you, and allow them to be dissolved, allow the atonement to take place, allow the forgiveness and the release to be realized within yourself. Only you can do it. We have free will, and we have to exercise our free will. We have to decide to be spiritual in order for this to happen. It will not be imposed upon us. Number 8, the response of holiness to any form of error is always the same. There is no contradiction in what holiness calls forth. Its one response is healing, without regard for what is brought to it. Those who have learned to offer only healing because of the reflection of holiness in them are ready at last for heaven. There, holiness is not a reflection, but rather the actual condition of what was, but reflected to them here. God is no image, and his creations, as part of him, hold him in them in truth. They do not merely reflect truth, for they are truth. So basically that's saying that while we're here in the ego world, we have to reflect the spirit like a mirror, but that when we get to that final healing, that place of a final atonement, that place of revelation and enlightenment, then it won't be a reflection anymore. It will be the actual condition. They will not merely reflect truth. We will not merely reflect truth, for we are the truth, the spirit. Any questions, comments? Friends, if there are nothing else, we have come to the end of our reading for today. Thank you for joining us. Let's have a moment of silence as we stop the recording.